As CS2 has released, Complexity has had to pick up the mantle of being North America's best Counter-Strike team. Sort of North America, let me have my moment. With at least a top 4 performance in every big event they've played so far this season, Complexity are on the journey to be the best Counter-Strike 2 squad. Recently bolstered by Elige, someone who is fighting for North America GOAT contention, he has elevated the game of Complexity to new heights. But there's someone who has been underneath the surface level of Complexity Counter-Strike. It's not all the superstar fraggers that they have on their squad, Hauser, Grim, Floppy, but it's the IGL, JT. Let's take a look at how JT plays Counter-Strike. JT plays some of the most difficult positions in Counter-Strike. They're the most boring, time-consuming, and you die a lot. But JT is a testament to stats don't tell the full story. Except in this game, he plays like a beast. Let's take a blast from the past to the Blast Fall Finals. Complexity are facing off against Astralis in the opening round of the tournament, and they're facing a blowout in map 2. They're down 12-2 on their own map pick, and Blame F is just shouting at them.
The economy's up.
You might want to go for this.
I'm sorry, is Blame F giving shit to someone for saving?
He acts like butter doesn't melt in his mouth now.
Yeah.
Most teams would just give up at this point. GG go next, we got map 3. But Counter-Strike is not just a tactical game at this point. It's just as equally a mental one. But in this comeback effort, someone's got to do the dirty work, and JT, well, he looks like a superstar while doing it. Let's take the round that starts 12-2. At the round start, JT and his dedicated duo in Floppy both take short control. They make Astralis aren't present and start to paint the picture of the map. Now JT and Floppy return back to the B site and then take a look in a monster as Elige is lost on the A site.
Oh, Elige is pissed that he's gonna die to this. Counter-Strike.
But as Astralis start making moves into bathrooms, JT starts to fake a rotate over to the A site. These footsteps could be audible to Astralis, and so Astralis group up back to reclaim short. However, Floppy and JT are already at the scene. JT steps forward in the mid-round to catch a rotating Astralis player jumping into short, but he doesn't overheat. He hears the next target moving through monster and goes to join up with Floppy. JT is always going to set up his teammate with the calculated fight instead of trying to go for the risky double kill in B short, leaving his teammate Floppy in a 2 versus 1. So while JT could have gotten the kill here onto Buzz, he sacrifices himself for the easy trade, leaving Floppy an opportunity to fall back to his teammate in Grim to prevent a device 1 versus 2.
You gotta play with what your players are comfortable with. So for me, like I need to make sure that I'm putting Elige and Grim in positions where they're taking lots of duels or they're taking as much fights as possible. And then like for another team like that's more passive or another team that prefers to play slow, like they need to do something else.
That's what you want to be as a support player. Constant awareness about the situation, setting up your pieces across the map. Fast forward to round 18, where JT is going to continually work to set up the talent on his team. JT once again establishes short control for his squad. And once again, Complexity, satisfied with their early information, back up to the sites and await the next move. With the early B information, Elige starts an early A rotate to get ready if Astralis speed up. This leaves JT and Floppy in the 2-man B defense. So Complexity set themselves up into a double monster setup. JT is always going to be taking first contact here, with Floppy looking for the multi-kill and at the end of the day trying to buy the most amount of time. And they stay in this setup for 40 agonizing seconds. Good Counter-Strike is boring. And Astralis nearly make the correct call. They're gonna hit JT's site. And yes, despite the 0.95 rating, when the play gets to JT, the IGL can feast.
Instantly gets one as well. Device though, trade frag back, and it's JT to hold the line.
Control.
Beautiful headshots coming out of JT.
It's not like I've played every event and been like amazing player. Like I've just been slightly improved over before. Like some events I'm doing really well, some events I'm doing just as bad as I was before. So I think for me, I should be working on my consistency. But yeah, in this meta, I think it is actually really important for each player to be able to hold their own. But I don't think it's important for that to show in the stats, because I think there's a lot of like roles that you can do or things that you can do that's just not going to show on the stats, and it's going to make everyone else play better. So I think you need to look like really closely into a player if they have bad stats, if they're actually not doing their thing, especially if they've been on a team for a while, because obviously they're there for a reason.
So progress to round number 22, and the comeback is really going. Everyone has been manhandling Astralis, but this time around, JT again lies in wait for a good minute and doesn't overextend. Here, I actually want to talk about a little microplay from JT. JT is playing this round from the Monster Wood Wall. It's a bit of a mix-up from the normal play, as JT will still be taking first contact to set up Floppy in a bit of a newer bait and switch. But the wider angle from JT allows him more room to maneuver, where instead of just being hard cleared, he gives himself a better chance for a potential one and done, and maybe even stalling out for more time, being able to play around with more space. Not only that, but the wider angle allows him to see the first flash of the execute coming, so he's able to turn this flash, find the first kill, the second as well, just before he gets blinded, and from there, he basically wins the round on his own. To be fair, even if JT goes down here, Floppy is probably ready just for the instant trade anyways, considering he has two Ts with their backs turned to him, most likely. So after an eco mowdown in round 23, it's the final round of regulation. Utter patience on the B sites and mix-ups across the map have kept Astralis without an answer, but they might finally find one. JT and Floppy are holding their usual B positions, but for the first time in 10 rounds, the three-man A defense crumbles. But leave it to the big man in JT to clutch up the 1v1. And so now, the comeback is complete. 10 rounds straight. Just overtime to go here for Cole.
I think a lot of us didn't think it would actually happen, but like after you win like a few rounds and you start coming back, then you just start feeling like, yeah, it's possible. But I think most of us are just like not really thinking about it until it was like maybe like 12-10 or something, and then we're like, okay, well, then we maybe like felt some pressure on it and like thinking like, we could actually do this now.
JT once again is in charge of short control, but Astralis finally switched things up. For the first time all T side, Astralis have actually contested this part of the map in the first couple of seconds. JT dies immediately, but again sets up the rest of his team to play off of his information. It allows Elige to fly through a smoke to get the return kill and put a lot of pressure on Astralis in the midst of the execute. And with the benefit of this advanced information and good preparedness from the rest of Complexity, they're able to roll back on into the site and land shot after shot onto the executing players. With round 14 in the bag, it's the last round of their CT side. It's been 12 rounds straight, and JT back at Holden Monster, where he yet again delivers on the first fight, of course always ready to be traded by Floppy, but then Blamaf has to walk forward and prove him mortal, to which Floppy is able to do as planned. The entirety of the plan this game for Complexity was for JT to die, and most of the time he didn't. And so one more round of OT. Yeah, if you've been watching this, you kind of know how this one goes. So JT and the crew pull off the biggest comeback in CS2 history so far. That ever comes into play where you do psych yourself out when you look at the top of the scoreboard?
Yeah, yes and no. I think every player like thinks about the scoreboard. Even if they say that they don't, they're definitely thinking about the score, thinking about like, oh, this map's T-sided, like we should have done better. But I think all of us know, we've been playing for a long time, like especially now CS2 in the new game, like anything can happen. There's a lot of variables that are happening in the game, and like big leads can happen really quickly. So I think just staying composed and just knowing that you can always come back is just a good thing.
And I wanted to showcase how sometimes boring Counter-Strike can win games. And while yes, JT frags like a beast in this game, look, it had to be entertaining at some point, that's not all that's needed for Complexity to win. JT is always putting himself in position to be traded, gather lots of information, and intangible impact that you just don't see when you read the kill feed. JT puts his better players ahead of himself. Complexity continued their stellar start in CS2 with an appearance at Challenger Atlanta. I don't know if they're going to do all that hot on home soil, but of course the hopes are high that they do. If you're watching it, you might see me or JT busy in the kill feed getting traded. On that note, folks, peace.
Hey guys, I'm Kay, the editor. Vi give me free reign to do whatever I want while I edit these videos, so I'm going to do my own end segment, giving JT a rating that is so fair and so important that it will be slapped on his HLTV and Liquidpedia, altering the trajectory of his career forever. JT is one of the greatest minds the game has ever seen, and if he was paired alongside insane young talented players like Sonic, OC, Modem, Tens, or maybe even a guy like Shroud, he would be unstoppable. But unfortunately, JT chooses to play with randoms like a liege as to not make the game too easy for him. Watching him carry this squad to top 5 in the world and seeing them never give up under his direction is truly inspiring and proves that anything is possible. The JT in his name does stand for just try after all. After such a life-changing performance, I must give JT a player score of 6.4 out of 7 red flavored fruit snacks. If fighting is sure to result in victory, then you must fight. Sun Tzu said that, and I think he would know a little bit more about fighting than you do, pal.